I'm Mitchell Langdon, and I had the book Fahrenheit 451. So in the book, Guy Montag is a firefighter who burned books in a futuristic dystopian society, and immediately in the beginning of the book, he starts talking to a neighbor named Clarice McClellan, and he begins to question the society that he lives in and why they burn books, because she has a very different point of view than what most people have on their society, which ultimately leads to her being killed later on. And after realizing what he was doing, like what his job was, he begins asking himself why. He constantly has his ideas shut down by his boss and Mildred, his wife. But once he meets Faber, an old teacher, the fire inside of him ignites permanently, and he continues on a self-mission, which leads to him finding a new life and watching his old home burn into flames. And an overview of the book, I think it did a great job at showing how, even in such an oppressive society that attempts to eliminate all sorts of old literature, contradiction, and confusion, there will be people who see through it and try to keep old ways alive through future generations. The review states that more than ever we are intelligent, we have access to an ocean of information literally at our fingertips. And I think that this is another reason that we won't have this problem in our society. There are already too many people who would not succumb to the societal downfall, and there would be many ways to avoid it, whether it is through technology or not. Bradbury says, the books are to remind us of what fools we are. They're a sense of humbling, reminding us of where we originated from and how blinded we have been by essentially everything. Just some cons. The book was great. It kept me interested the whole time, but towards the end of the book, I feel like the author focused too much on getting a point across and that he forgot to make it interesting. The meaning was there, but the entertainment and good closure just wasn't. In other words, the book was good. The ending just felt a little bit rushed. Then as far as potentially offensive content goes, I found it unoffensive. There were a few instances where minor swear words were used, but nothing potentially offensive towards a person or a group of people. There is violence in different forms. Mildred, Montag's wife, at one point attempted to take her own life with pills, and later on he burns his boss alive with a flamethrower. So there is a little bit of violence, but nothing too awful. And then prose about the book. It's a great cry of warning about censorship and forces of conformity. Bradbury depicts a futuristic American society in which nearly every citizen is disconnected from reality. He gives off the idea that we need to read and remember the past so that mankind can flourish in itself. And it's a genius concept in the way that it was presented, and I think a great book overall. One quote that really stuck with me throughout it all was on page 57 when he said, colored people don't like Little Black Sambo, burn it. White people don't feel good about Uncle Tom's Cabin, burn it. Someone's written a book on tobacco and the cancer of the lungs. The cigarette people are weeping, burn the book. And this really just stuck with me because it kind of goes to show how emotional and sensitive people have become today, and how, this in this book, in this representation, it's just censorship. They're trying to get rid of all problems, and by doing that, you're also getting rid of feelings and just people's selves. And then the response to the book review, I had very mixed feelings about this one. So I don't know if I'm going to go over all of these, but I'll do a couple. The first one that I highlighted on the Google Doc was the quote was, "The main point for me is not that books are burned, that it is the most dramatic side of something bigger, that society allows them to be burned and that no one is interested in reading in the first place." And I said I agree with this because it is not as simple as, yes, books are burned. There's a deeper meaning behind it all. As I stated previously with the quote about people burning books because they get upset about them. Another one was, more than ever, we more intelligent. We have access to an ocean of information literally at our fingertips. I agreed with this highly because we do have a computer in our hand pretty much every single day. We have access to almost everything you can think of. Continuing was, two that I highly disagreed with were, but we are not wise. We don't know what to do with our information, and we have no memory. I said I highly disagree with this statement, and to say we are not wise and we do not know what to do with the information we are given is just not true. There are obviously people who this may apply to, but not nearly all people, like she made it sound like. I know for a fact that I and many, many others use information with good purpose and to better ourselves. And then one more was, the social media timelines dictate the discussion of the day, what video is trending, what news should be discussed with, what meme will be the big joke for a day or two before it is once again forgotten. And I said the author attempted to use this as evidence/reasoning, and it's not necessarily true. Social media does not dictate what you do or what you discuss. You do. You do that yourself. The whole sentence is not true and is flooded with his or her own opinion, which is okay because I understand that it's someone's own review. I just disagree with it. And then to cap it off, the summary was, I would recommend this book to others simply because of how enlightening it is. It really showed me a different point of view on our society today. How the people who have an attitude of, I don't care about politics, and try to block out what is going on around them are just wrong. You have to pay attention to that type of stuff. We must not conform to corrupt law and societal standards, because that is how America's downfall would begin once people just stop caring. I rated this book a 4.5 out of 5, and I gave it a 4.5 because of how wonderful the meaning behind the whole story was, and how it was able to keep me attentive the whole way through. And then I took half off because of the ending. In my opinion, it felt a little bit rushed, and it left me asking myself, wait, that's it?